Hi everyone, welcome to Sketch Day. My name is Spencer, and yes, it's been a while. My apologies. Life's been a little bit crazy, as it sometimes happens when you've got kids and a home and all those fun things to work with. So today I just thought I'd do a very quick video, something simple, something that I think we could all learn from and benefit, and that is line weight. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about how I would apply line weight to this drawing to create some pop. Now, if you'll notice, I have most of the basic skeleton of the drawing here. I've got a shadow cast on the ground. I've got some forms that are intersecting each other. And so I'll talk a little bit about what happens when you overlap. But to kick off the discussion, I'm using a Bic Cristal pen. As always, I'll put the link in the video. If you click those links, it helps me pay for this whole adventure that I'm on. Anyhow, I'm using a Bic Cristal pen, and the nice thing about ballpoint, if you watch my other videos, is you can get 3 or more line weights out of one pen. So if I just lightly sketch on the page, you'll see I have a line here. I'd consider that maybe 1 in terms of my line weights. I'm gonna do 3 or 4 here. Here's 2, 3, applying more pressure. So you can see there's a definite change in intensity or increase. And then 4 would be if I take that Bic and just kind of hit the same line as much as possible. You want to kind of avoid this that I just did, but if you kind of stay on this side here, you're in good company. So this is kind of a simplification rather of how I think about line weight. Typically, it's about 3, maybe 4 line weights, and they have different purposes. So, for example, if I were to apply line weight to this sketch, what I may end up doing, or what I would end up doing rather, is trying to identify where these line weights would apply. So, general rule, my lines that define the edge of a surface, so here, for example, right where this surface is wrapping down, I've got this line. This one is going to be a 1 in terms of my line weight. Here, I've got the edge or corner of this cube as it overlaps on top of this form as it intersects. That's going to be my 2, and then on the perimeter of my sketch, so any line that's on the outside of the sketch is going to have my number 3 intensity. So that's kind of how I think about it. So let's go ahead and apply. I'll start with my number 3 here. It's a nice solid line on the outside. Okay. So you can see that's really starting to pop and define the outside of the outline of the form. And ballpoint pen is a lot like pencil, where the more you apply it, the darker it gets. So here's an example of where I might apply a number 4 line weight, and the reason for this is if I look at this corner from a side view, if you were to zoom in right here, so here's this corner, and let's zoom in even more. Really, it's going to be a subtle, slightly eased edge. As light passes, this eased edge is going to cast a shadow onto the surface on which this form is sitting. So just by applying a little heavier line weight, it reinforces the visual idea that this form is sitting on a surface. Now, if I weren't using a ballpoint pen and all you had was a Sharpie or a felt pen, you could totally do the same thing. You just need to find the pen with the right width on the tip. Okay, so right here, as I've gone from the base going up, I've lightened up on my line weight to create some depth throughout the sketch. Okay, so next I'm going to do my number 2 lines. So let's start here. For example, I've got a little bit of overlap, so just want a line weight that's a little bit lighter in terms of width and intensity than my outside. So like so, and then here's my number 1 line, nice and light. So there's a hierarchy to this line schema, so such that it reinforces the idea that you're trying to communicate with the form. There's another area where I have my number 2 line weight, and of course right here. So now we have a sketch with 1, 2, 3 line weights. I'm going to go ahead and push the line weight of these construction lines I had just a little bit more, so these edges or corners show through. And my shadow is being cast this direction, so I know my light source is coming from the top left. So I can go ahead and shade, just for effect, the surfaces that are away from the light source. And I'm doing this with hatching, which is closely placed parallel lines next to each other, and it creates a general tonal effect on the surface. So even if I don't have a marker or a digital sketching tool, I can quickly show some form using my ballpoint pen. Pretty cool, right? So there's some shade there. If I want to show this shadow, I already went ahead and calculated the shape of the shadow. If you have questions about that, you can watch my previous video on how to construct shadows, which should help you a lot in trying to figure out what the shadow would look like for this particular object. So for the shadow, I'm trying to get a nice dark value, and I'm doing that by increasing the pressure on the pen for each stroke, as well as closing in the distance between the strokes so that it appears to be darker. And there's my shadow for my sketch. So a pretty simple example of how you can use line weight and a simple tool to just pop a sketch and define the form. Well, thanks for joining. If you have any questions, you can post them in the comments. I'll try to respond to those, or you can go ahead and shoot me a message or email, contact me through Facebook, throw up a comment on Instagram. I spend most of my time on Instagram these days, so if you're trying to get a hold of me, that's probably the best place to do so. Thanks again. Be sure to subscribe. I will try and be better about posting videos. And do tell your friends, people that you think might be interested in the channel and this content, how to sketch, how to draw, especially coming from a product designer. Be sure to share that with them so they can check out my stuff too. And regarding the links in the posts, they're affiliate links, just to be clear. So that means that if you do purchase these awesome pens, which I actually do get them from Amazon, that Amazon will give me a little percentage of that sale as compensation for referring you guys to these awesome products. So that's why I post them, and getting that kickback from Amazon, I'm able to buy the supplies that I use and hopefully get better equipment and so forth. So thanks for joining me, and we'll see you again next time.